Hey everyone, Rich Bennett here. I'm excited to tell you about something we're doing for National Recovery Month. Here at Conversations with Rich Bennett, we're holding a special event called the Podathon for Recovery, 12 Days of Hope. For 12 consecutive days, we'll release a new episode dedicated to powerful conversations about addiction, recovery, and hope. And we're doing this to raise vital funds for an incredible nonprofit, Rage Against Addiction. They are on the front lines providing sober living homes, recovery coaching, and essential support to families. We believe recovery is a journey worth celebrating, and your support can make a tangible difference. Every donation, no matter the size, goes directly to them, helping to save lives and provide a second chance. So please join our mission. You can start donating right now. Simply go to conversationswithrichbennett.com and you'll see the donation thing right there so you can donate and help these women in recovery. Welcome to a special episode of Conversations with Rich Bennett. This is a part of our Podathon for Recovery, 12 Days of Hope, our mission to raise money for Rage Against Addiction. My co-host Wendy, Beck, and I will be sharing powerful stories of addiction, recovery, and resilience to help break the stigma and show that hope is always possible. Your support helps Rage Against Addiction provide life-changing resources, and you can donate right now by visiting our GoFundMe link in the show notes. We are so grateful you've joined us on this important journey. Now let's get into today's conversation. So I am sitting here with my lovely co-host again, Wendy Beck.
Hello.
Another episode of Conversations with Wendy, and Rich is here for another special episode. And keep those donations coming in. I'm going to keep the link up all month. So even after the final episode for the 12 Days of Recovery, you can still donate. I'm going to turn it over to you now.
Well, thanks. We have a special guest here today, and Sarah, and she's going to tell us a little bit about her journey and her recovery story as well. Hi, Sarah.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Sure, of course. Thanks for coming. Sarah actually reached out to me on another matter, and I said, "Hey, would you like to do a podcast?" And she said yes. So this is our first time meeting. So you are a Harford County resident.
Yep.
And have you always been?
I have, yeah.
Okay.
Born and raised.
So your addiction and your recovery all took place in Harford County?
Yes.
Okay. Do you want to start a little bit? When did that start?
So mine started a little bit later than I think a lot of people that I've heard. I didn't start using until right before my 21st birthday. I did drink a little bit in high school, but
Right.
I wouldn't say any more than, typical high school kids.
Right.
But I didn't smoke weed. I didn't do anything like that until I was 20.
What was the catalyst? Do you know?
Actually, I was raised I think a lot of kids are, but my parents were very against drugs.
Mm-hmm.
They drilled it into our heads. Neither of my parents use. My brother actually was in active addiction at the time, and I just could not understand it. And I started dating somebody who used, and I was like, you can get addicted to that stuff. And he's like, no, it's all about being strong and you can stop when you want. And I didn't know anything about it at the time. So
Can I ask what he was using?
He was using pain pills,
Okay.
like oxys and things like that.
Okay.
Which are very easy to become addicted to as well.
Yes. And one night I finally gave in and I did one, and it was I found Jesus in that moment. That's how I felt. And
Wow.
it was I knew that it was going to be a problem, but I didn't at the same time. But it was how good it made me feel was wow, I found this feeling that people spend their lives looking for.
Let me ask you, did you decide to try just because he kept doing it, or were you actually in pain or anything?
No, I was not in pain.
You just wanted to try to see what the whole deal
Yes.
was about.
Yeah.
Was there
okay.
peer pressure involved?
He would ask me, but I wouldn't even say it was peer pressure. I don't know what I was thinking. in the moment, like why I did that, because it's like I knew better, but
you did it. And then so after you did, what was it like?
I started using on the weekends. We would do them. Then it became a little bit throughout the week plus weekends. Then it just became every day.
Wow.
Yeah,
And it was a habit.
It happened quick. I think I used. It was like May the first time I used, and by August I was using heroin.
Oh wow.
Holy crap, that
Wow.
quick?
Mm-hmm. That happened because nobody could find pills, because at the time was when they were really cutting down on giving them out.
Can I ask what year this was?
This was 2012.
Okay.
Wow.
Yep. And, I was sick, and my person that I went to was like, I don't have those, but I have this. And I was like, well, it was cheaper.
Yeah.
It was cheaper. It was, quote unquote, better.
Quicker high.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yep.
So from August, where did that take you at that point?
It took me downhill really quick. Instead of just going, in Harford County, I realized you could go to the city and get it cheaper. And I had a car, and a lot of my friends that were using didn't have cars. So I was able to, make money and I was working at the time. I was in college.
Right.
I was working a really good job at a children's hospital. I mean, it was.
How old were you?
I was 20 when I first started and turned 21.
Were you living at home with your parents at this time?
I was.
And did they know?
No.
Wow.
They didn't, because they were so focused on my brother. Well, actually, the month he went away to get clean was like when I started using. But they were so focused on when he was coming home from rehab.
Right.
And, I was a straight A student, never really gotten any trouble. Like, I had never been in trouble. So I wasn't on the radar.
There wasn't any reason for them to.
Yeah.
What about your appearance? Did that change?
No.
Okay.
Not
Not
yet.
at first. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, because you mentioned before that you have a child. Did you have a child at that time?
So I got pregnant in January of 2013, and I was on Suboxone, like maintenance at the time.
Right.
And my doctor was like, you're pregnant. We can't keep you on this. And my mom was like, we have to go get you detoxed. So she actually took me to a hospital out in Virginia, because nobody in Maryland would detox me being pregnant.
Oh, wow.
Oh, wow.
But they didn't suggest like Matt or.
They did, but we were very uneducated on it.
Mhm.
And, knowing that the baby could be addicted, and my mom was like, do you want to have an addicted baby? And I'm like, no, I was really scared.
Yeah.
And you were young and you didn't know.
Yeah. But actually, when I came back from the detox, I was still sick. So I went to the Center for Addiction and Pregnancy in Johns Hopkins Bayview
Mm-hmm.
and got on their methadone program.
Okay.
But I kept it a secret from everybody my whole pregnancy.
How did you, if you don't mind me asking, how did your parents find out, or was it just your mother? And what was their reaction?
So I actually went to my mom before I got pregnant. I asked my brother to sit her down with me, because I was like, I need help. Like this.
So your brother was already home after. Okay.
And he was doing good, and he was helping me. So we sat my mom down, and I told her that I was addicted, and she, at first I don't think she even believed me.
Right. Wow.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Go ahead. It's.
Well,
Well,
I think a lot of people, they don't know until
Exactly.
they know. And then it's usually at a point that's like no return at that point.
Well, and we've said it before, addiction doesn't have a face. You could be using for years, and people around you may not even know.
Yes. Because I think there's that stereotypical thing people think of when they
Mhm.
think of an addict.
Like homeless, jail, that
Yes.
kind of stuff.
And that's just not. And
No, you're a straight A student and work a good job and everything.
yeah. And especially like up in Harford County, like you didn't hear of a lot of that,
Right.
like especially, in like Bel Air and things like that. That was like a city, quote unquote city problem.
Right.
So
Exactly. Not in my neighborhood.
Yes.
Not my kid. I get it. Because I was going through that same thing with my daughter around that same time. So at that time, honestly, when I figured out what was happening with her, because I didn't know, behaviors change. She's turning into a different person that I really didn't know anymore. And so I was trying to like follow the pieces and reach out to friends' parents. And I was getting this like door in my face, not literally, but like, we don't want to talk about this. Don't send any emails to my family email, like that kind of thing. And I'm like, excuse me, something's happening. Why don't you want to talk with me about it? And at that time, it was disturbing, but it was also like, am I going crazy? Like, why doesn't anybody else see that there's a problem here?
I think it was eye-opening as well, because you saw that there's really
and
nothing out there.
And her friends were doing the same things that she was doing, but I was the one who noticed it. Like, I was more vigilant. They were sweeping it under the rug, the other families. And that's where I had a really hard time. I was like ready to shout it from the rooftops. Hey, we need help over here, please.
Yeah. Because it's like, if you don't acknowledge it, then it's like it's not happening.
Mm-hmm.
And initially, my family didn't want us to talk about it. Like, they wanted to keep it hush hush, and then eventually got to a point where it couldn't. And she actually had like some of her, I wouldn't even call them friends because of this, but that wouldn't deal with them anymore because she had 2 kids that were, one was in recovery and one was an addict,
right?
As if that reflected on them.
Yes,
my parents had not, I had the best. My mom, my dad, and my stepdad, like, I have the best parents anybody could ever ask for. It had nothing to do with them.
Right.
It wasn't because I wasn't loved. It was my own issues,
right.
That led me to you.
Well,
So,
I mean, how is that different than like, someone saying, hey, have a beer. Hey, smoke some weed. Hey, take a pill. And you're like, okay, he's doing it. He looks fine. He's okay. Even if you knew in the back of your mind that this might not be, but I'm going to do it. I want to do it.
Right.
And okay. So so you're pregnant, you're on the methadone, and your parents are supporting you at this point.
Yes, but they don't know that I'm on the methadone.
Oh, they don't.
My son's father does not know I'm on it because they were very against it because, again, nothing was being talked about. Like, so nobody was really educated on the methadone or any of this. So nobody found out until my son was born. Because I was ashamed because I felt like, I remember when I first found out I was pregnant and I was withdrawing really bad and I was driving and I pulled over on the side of the road and I was just sobbing. And I remember just like holding my stomach, like promising like to my little peanut that like we're going to be okay. Like, I'm going to get this figured out. And I'll like never forget that. And I was still ashamed though of being on the methadone because it's like, I can't deal with going through withdrawal, so I'm going to put my child through it instead. That's how I felt. Not realizing how dangerous it is for the baby to go through the withdrawal. So really,
while you're still pregnant, you mean?
Yeah. And that's what the doctors kept telling me. Like, it's so dangerous because whatever you're feeling, the baby's feeling, tenfold. So at the end of the day, now I realize I did do what was best for, me and my son. And my son is healthy. He's, an athlete and, things are good. But back then I really struggled with it. And then after he was born, I stayed clean for maybe a month and a half. And then I went back out, and not only did I go back out, but I became a IV drug user at that point.
Explain what that is. That's the first time I heard that term.
Really?
Yeah.
Shooting up.
Oh, I thought you meant like an IV bag and everything.
I mean,
Well,
if I could have gotten one of those with my drugs in it, I probably would have. But
okay.
Right. I'm not laughing at the situation. I'm laughing at you.
You're both laughing at me.
Oh, so
no, I never heard that term before.
that would change, your appearance. That would change a lot because that makes it a lot more.
Yes.
I don't know. I never did it, but I'm just saying, like,
you're still living at home.
It's almost no return.
Mother this time, right?
Yes,
and your son's there.
Yes, and she would drug test me. Like, this woman had boxes of drug
Your
tests.
mother would?
Yeah,
Oh,
she would
wow.
order like
I
the
love her.
hospital grade drug tests by the pallet load. Like,
Wow.
and she's like, you're not going to get high in my house.
Right.
So, I would get around the drug tests, and it worked for a little bit because she would know when I was using, because
Yeah.
I didn't just use a little bit. Like, I would be falling asleep at the table, but my drug test would be clean. So she's like, I don't know what's going on with you, but
Right. And it
something
makes
is
us
up.
feel like we're crazy.
Yeah,
It
and
really does, because you guys are masters at hiding.
and manipulating and gaslighting. Yeah, I mean, I was horrible to my parents because they stood in the way of me and the drugs, and nothing was more important to me than the drugs at that time.
Right.
Well,
Unfortunately, that's common. And that's where a lot of the stigma, like you were talking about, happens.
Yeah.
and we mentioned it before. You can't think straight. You're not thinking at all. It's the drugs that are doing the thinking for you. And a lot of people that have never used before, people don't realize that, because a lot of people think, oh, well, they can quit anytime they want. No, it is a disease. People don't understand that. And because it pisses me off when I talk to some people and they're like, oh, bullshit, they could quit anytime.
Well, then
No,
they
they
never
can't.
had someone that they love struggle.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Honestly.
Because I felt like that when I would see my brother going through it. I'd be like, you can just stop. Like,
Yeah.
you're making excuses. And then going through it firsthand, it was like I would literally die for my son, but I couldn't stop using drugs. I still can't wrap my mind around that.
Right.
Because it's just that crazy. I mean,
Wow.
So he's how old now?
he'll be 12 in September.
Okay, so from the time he was born until now, what has your journey been like? So you were you became an IV user, and you've continued on that road for how long?
I continued on that road. So that was in 2013. I continued on until 2016. I went in and out of rehabs. I started getting in trouble with the law. I started getting a record. I started smoking crack, shooting coke.
Wow.
I'd be missing, I'd be locked in motel rooms for weeks at a time. Just
disappear
just
for a while.
Yeah. And that's when my appearance really started to change. I was probably like 90 pounds soaking wet.
Damn.
Had that.
Where was your son at this time?
My mom watched him, and then his dad.
And his dad was not.
His dad does not use. His dad is such a great man. We were engaged, but my addiction ruined that, obviously. But he never tried to use my addiction against me, never tried to take my son from me, but he did put stipulations like, you can't be alone with him. You need to be at your mom's when you're with him, just because I'm scared that you're going to overdose and die while he's in your care.
Which happens. Yeah.
And it got to a point in 2016 where we actually had lawyers draw up paperwork so that way, like, everybody was planning on me dying. And that way, if
Even
and
yourself?
when, yeah.
Wow.
Yep. And that way, when I died, my mom could take over, like, my custody. Because we just do a 50-50. The courts aren't involved or anything, but that way she could,
So everybody wanted to be in agreement. And that was a really tough time for a lot of people, because my daughter passed away in 2015.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
No, thank you. But so at this time, this is when we had the signs in front of the
police stations.
Yep. It was happening so much around here that, I mean, it was unbelievable. So all that hush hush is now out in the open.
Yeah.
It is. And I think that that's part of what helped change to get us to some of that sustainable recovery that we have today.
Yeah, because I feel like it hit, I mean, maybe I just didn't notice it until I was in it, but I feel like it hit Harford County hard and almost out of nowhere.
Right.
It was
around that time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the numbers on the boards were just staggering, like the overdose and then the fatalities.
It was daily. The numbers were going up daily.
Yeah. And it was, just crazy. And it was like, but still, though, a lot of people like didn't want to talk about it, even though it was like right in front of their face.
Unfortunately, some people still don't want to talk about it.
I know.
It's ridiculous. I mean, people need to wake the hell up.
Well, I remember when I would try to go to rehab, my mom would be like, why haven't you found a place yet? And I'm like, everywhere has a wait list, or they don't take my insurance, or, whatever the case
Or it
is.
costs a lot of money.
Right. And she's like, thinking I'm lying. So she sat down with me one day and we spent hours calling places. Nowhere had beds. There was wait lists. And it was
her
like,
eyes up, didn't it?
she's like, this is a problem.
Yeah.
Like, this is crazy because, when an addict finally wants help, you need to jump on it.
Exactly.
Mhm.
That
Because-
moment, right. You
Yeah.
don't let any grass grow under your feet at that time
Mhm.
because they're
Yeah.
going to change their mind in 5 minutes, 10 minutes, an hour.
Yeah. So finally in 2016, I did go to jail. I've spent the night in jail before, but this was my first time ever, staying in there. It was only 3 weeks, but it felt like years.
That's a long time.
And I had to detox in there. I cried every day in there. It was just, that was really eye-opening. And while I don't think jail provides rehabilitation, it did open my eyes up.
Yeah.
And I got released into drug court
Okay.
with Judge Carey, and that program saved my life. So I have been clean from opiates and cocaine since September 27th of 2016. But
It's almost 10 years.
yeah,
Wow, that's awesome.
but unfortunately, over COVID, I was in a very toxic and abusive relationship and got prescribed Xanax
Oh, shit.
and started abusing that.
Mhm.
So, I went downhill with that. And then I finally,
Which is, people, I just want to say this right now, is very dangerous.
Xanax?
Withdrawing from Xanax
Oh.
is terrible.
Oh,
you
yeah.
can die.
I
You can
had
have
seizures,
seizures.
yes.
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
yes. Yeah, I always thought heroin was my problem.
Right.
Like, that's my problem. I'll have no issues being on this. It's, initially it was prescribed, all that. But that took me down in a different way than heroin did. But it was like, there's months of my life that I don't remember.
Right.
While
like-
you were taking that?
Yes, because
Yeah.
it's like you'll be blacked out, but still up and moving. So it was like,
Well, I have a story too, if I may. That was the one time with my daughter. She wasn't living with me. That she was, I call it, on her Xanax run. I don't know what else to call it. And I didn't hear from her for weeks, which was very I was very persistent in trying to
Yeah.
make that contact all the time. And she was on Xanax, and I remember when she kind of came to the other side of it, she was like, I had seizures. It was terrible.
Why the hell do they prescribe this shit then?
I don't think they should, to be honest with you. I'm
I don't
so
know.
against it.
I
Well,
don't know
it's
much about it other than that.
it's supposed to be used short term for anxiety,
Right.
and it's not supposed to be like a daily medication. But I mean, at one point I was getting, prescribed 90 a month. And if you're not supposed to take it daily, you do
90
the
a
math.
month?
Yes.
Yeah. That's like 3 a day.
Correct. So, doctors are still over prescribing things if, they're still out there.
Wow.
I think that it should be banned. It's a very scary.
Well, and you're saying this, and you were prescribed it. Did they know at the time that you were in recovery when they prescribed that to you? I'm just curious.
No.
You didn't know to
Well,
tell them, or they
they-
didn't know to ask?
I didn't offer it up because I had been prescribed it back when I was a teenager for legit purposes and never abused it.
Right.
At the time, I didn't even know you could abuse it. I was 17 years old. But in my chart, they had that I'd been on Suboxone and methadone.
And no one asked you
so
about
it's
it.
like, why else would you be on that if you're not in
Yeah.
addictions? But again, I didn't offer it because I'm like, they're not going to give it to me if. So my mind was already in relapse mode because I was abusing them, and then I started buying them on the street, which
Mhm.
then they're laced with God knows what.
Right.
Yeah, I just realized something. That's not a standard question when you go to the doctors, is it? Are you in recovery?
No, it's not.
It should be.
I've never actually been asked. Now I do let people know, like
Right.
if something happens, like I let them know all of that.
We tell the ladies at the houses because sometimes we have someone that will go in for surgery or they'll have some kind of dental procedure, and we're very cautious in, letting them go through that process while they live in the sober living houses. And we do allow it if we're monitoring their medication and it's short term and that type of thing. But that could be a very slippery slope.
Well, same with at my job, we've had clients who've, same thing, had procedures and tell them that they're in recovery. And the doctors are like pushing them to take, like, no, you're going to need this. No, you're going to need to take this. And it's almost, it's almost alarming that I don't know if you would hope these doctors are educated on.
They're not.
But it's like...
So if you're not advocating for yourself, no one's advocating for you in the medical profession, basically.
And if you have somebody that's kind of early in recovery or on the fence or anything like that, are they going to advocate for themselves? And they could walk out of that office with prescriptions for God knows what.
Right.
It's
that's
huge
That's
problem.
part of the, I guess, the work that still needs to be done. Which is a whole nother podcast.
Yeah.
So how long were you doing the Xanax for? Because you said that started during COVID, right?
Yes, I was doing that probably 2020 to 2021.
Okay.
But it's like, it's not we joke now, but it's like every time I take it, I wake up in jail because I just have no recollection of what I was doing. So, I got 2 DUIs back to back, and I was like, all right, I need to get it together because you're about to go back down a really bad path. So I went to like the Father Martin Ashley outpatient. I detoxed, got clean. That was November 4th of 2022. Yes, because I'm coming up on 4 years. So, and then I was just like, you know what? I get complacent every time I would go to get clean, where I'm like, would go to meetings or go to therapy for a little bit and then be like, okay, I'm good. I don't need to do this anymore. And this time I stuck with it. I'm still in therapy. I'm a huge advocate for therapy.
Good.
That was like the biggest thing that changed for me was actually like working on my inner problems, because all of this was a me problem. Like, it wasn't growing up in a bad household or some traumatic event happening to me when I was younger. It was just me never being comfortable in my own skin, and never, even since I was little, I always wanted to be somebody else. Like, I never loved myself and never really had confidence and self-love and all that. So these past couple years in therapy have really changed a lot of things for me, and I've gained all of that back, and I'm comfortable being alone. I'm happy with myself. So
do you love yourself now?
I do.
Good.
Yep, I do. And I have the biggest thing I've gained in recovery is having peace, like being able to sit alone and like feel peaceful.
Right. Not like you're missing out on something or you're not good enough or whatever.
Yeah.
Whatever that inner voice is telling you.
Yeah. So I started working in recovery right when I hit my 1 year mark, when I could get a job. And
now, are you a peer?
I am certified, but I don't work as a peer.
Okay.
So I started off as a tech, and I realized just how passionate I am about this field, just because, at one point I thought I was going to die. Like, I thought that this disease was going to take my life, and nobody thought that I was going to get clean. So the fact that I did, I know everybody says like, well, if I can get clean, you can get clean. But like, that's really how I feel.
Yeah. And everybody's different. Everybody's different.
Yep.
Wow. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, you're good. So I worked in inpatient for a little while, and then the last 2 years I've been at a woman's house. And I love working with the women because I feel like they're kind of like the underdogs. And there's just not as much
services.
Yes.
Well, and I think it takes women to help women.
Yes.
Honestly,
I do too.
That's one of the things that I feel like is a success for our program. Like, it is women helping women, and it makes a big difference. When we opened our houses, there was not very many. There was all these men's houses,
Yeah.
and it was like it was a whole different breed to have a women's house.
Yeah. And it's hard too because a lot of women have trauma, so they're not comfortable always with men, or
And they don't want to leave their children.
They don't want to leave their children. That's a big thing. That's why I never went into well, there really weren't many options for sober living back then, but I didn't want to leave my son. And, looking back, it's like you were fine leaving him to go get high, but you wouldn't, that whole thing. But that's a big thing too, is my pregnancy, the guilt and shame I felt around, being on maintenance and having him on methadone, that kept me using for years because of the guilt and shame that I felt. So I would use to cover it, and then I'd feel guilty about using it. It was just like a vicious cycle.
Mm-hmm.
So being able to work with women who have children and have gone through the same things, it's like, because I suffered for so many years because I didn't have
support.
Yeah.
So let me ask you a question. I mean, you said how you love helping women. I noticed that a lot of people in recovery, when they hit that year mark or they get their peer certification, they want to be there. They want to help people. And you're the only one who can help, honestly, other people.
Yeah.
I mean, that's very common now. Peers, people in recovery, helping people. Can you talk a little bit about that and why?
I feel like, I know for me, when I would go into rehab and meet with my counselor, if they weren't in recovery, I didn't want to hear what they had to say. And now I feel differently about it. But back then it was like, because I do feel like if you haven't been through it firsthand, you can't truly understand like the darkness.
Mm-hmm.
Like, because it's not something that like I feel like we as humans can even fathom, like this darkness that it takes you into. So I would always be like, how are you going to tell me how to get clean when you've never had to do it?
Right.
And that's how I felt. But actually, my counselor that I had at Ashley for years, I don't believe that she's in recovery. And she, out of all the treatment places I've been to, is like the one person that has truly made like a positive impact on my life. And I'm still in contact with her today because of just what a great impact she made.
Right.
So that kind of changed my view.
Well, and you were also willing to receive what she was saying. And other times you weren't. But I mean, she may have a special, gift as well. Just, not every therapist has gone through all of the things that they talk with their clients about. So it's kind of like a misconception, but it's not.
It definitely made me see things differently because it's like, okay, you're the only, out of all the staff members from all the facilities I've been to, you're the only one that has truly like made such an impact, and you're not in recovery. So it did change my viewpoint on that. But I think having somebody that has been through it is...
When you're in the thick of it, when someone's freshly in recovery, they're in treatment, in a recovery house, if you're not in recovery, you kind of don't have any business talking to them. If they get farther removed from it and you can start adding in these other dimensions of wellness and that type of thing, then you can kind of talk to anyone at that point.
And I feel like there's a lot of shame and guilt involved with the things that we do during active addiction. So if you have somebody that has
been through it,
done things similar, you feel more comfortable talking to them about it.
Yeah.
I mean, that was a big thing for me, is like, I didn't want to talk to somebody about, all the horrible things
because you would feel
did.
judged.
Yeah.
And then you would feel ashamed, and the cycle would start all over again.
And that's why I wasn't getting better, because I wasn't being open and honest about what was going on because I was ashamed.
Right.
So I think that's, a big thing that goes into it.
If I'm not mistaken, did you get some kind of degree?
I did.
Okay.
So,
I'm sorry. I was remembering what we talked about initially, but yes. So tell us about that. You went from working in recovery to now going to school.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I dropped out my senior year of college because that's when I was using. And
senior year of college?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Yep. I was at Towson. And my drug dealer lived right up the street. So obviously I was seeing him more than I was going to class. So I dropped out.
But it's still amazing that you were still, you were still being able to manage.
It was a double life for a while.
Okay.
For sure. But I actually didn't think I was ever going to go back to school. And my mom was like, you have 1 year left. Like, go get it. Like, what are you doing?
Right.
So I went back. I did online school and I graduated this past December.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Yep. So I got my bachelor's. And then I submitted all my stuff to become an ADT, which is basically like it allows you to work as a counselor to get the hours you need to get like actual certifications.
Wow.
And that just got approved yesterday.
Yay. Okay.
Yep. So
You're
I got
rocking and
that.
rolling.
Yep. And then I also got my peer recovery specialist certification. I got that in June. So
You are just kicking ass and
Aw.
taking names on the way.
I know. And it's just like so awesome. I could cry talking about it because it's just like
Aw.
such a 180. And I'm
It
just
is.
I'm so thankful.
You should be so
today.
proud.
Yeah.
Really.
Wow.
And it was like so cool because I would take my son to his practices and I'd be sitting there doing homework and all that. So he would like see me, do all this. And his best friend's dad called me and was like, I've never seen a child brag about their parents so much. And I'm
Aw.
like, what are you talking about? And he's like, Aiden always is talking about how you got straight A's and
Just wanted to.
and I guess my son would be over there bragging like, yeah, my mom just got straight A's this semester.
Aw.
And like, it was stuff that my son had to be saying because I don't know how else he would know.
Right.
And it was just so cool.
Well, and I think that this is a testimony of like we can go
Uh-huh.
through a lot and we can come through the other side, which there was a time in history where once you were, stamped with that label,
It is
There
like a
was no-
scarlet letter almost.
there was no
Yeah.
turning back. Yeah.
All of you listening, I want you to think about something what Sarah just said, because a lot of people say, whether in addiction or in recovery, that you'll never make it. But from what you just said, you are, and every parent, I believe, should be this. You are a role model for your son. And a lot of kids today don't want to go to school, but he
Nope.
sees you sitting there doing all that. That is freaking awesome.
Well, it would become where like he would try to get better grades than me, but but I got straight A's. I graduated with honors.
Aw.
So he now has to get straight A's too because he wants to obviously outdo
Right.
me. So, I mean, but that's awesome.
Yeah.
I love
We
that.
want our
Please
kids to do
outdo
better
me.
than we.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
We do?
Yes. Yes.
Oh, okay.
More money, smarter, just better equipped.
Okay.
And
No, I agree. I want my son and daughter to be smarter than me. Don't know if that'll happen.
Well,
I mean,
they can always hope.
yeah, this is true. No, see, I have to commend you for that because you don't hear that from a lot of parents, and to top it off, to have another parent come up and tell you that.
yeah,
That's
that was
just-
just so awesome
That's
because
sweet.
I know my son remembers that things weren't right.
I was
You know
just
what
going to
mean?
ask
He
that.
doesn't.
I was just going to ask that.
I used to take him to meetings with me and stuff like that. So I've never had a conversation with him because I don't know how at this age to really,
Wait till he's a little bit older.
Yeah, but he did say, because my dad would always bring him to visit me in rehab, and he would say, like, Mom's at the doctor. She's sick. She's getting better. So my son would always say, like, I'm so happy you're not sick anymore. So it's like he knew something wasn't right, but I don't think really know, like, doesn't
Yeah.
really know what.
What the sickness was.
And I think as he's getting older, he's starting to put pieces together because he'll say little things that
Mhm.
make me kind of.
Right. Like, oh, you remember that? Or
Yeah.
right. I get it.
You'll know when it's time to sit down with
Well,
him
and
and have that
he's
talk.
going to be a teenager.
Well, we've definitely had talks about peer pressure and things like that because, I mean, I hear stories from my clients where they started using at 10, 11, 12
Yeah.
years old. And I'm just like,
Wow.
so we do have talks about, all that. And thank God right now he's like terrified of getting in trouble. So I'm trying to ride that out as long as possible before his rebellion stage kicks in.
Mm-hmm.
But I make it known the field that I work in and things like that. And that, he can always come and talk to me. That there's always that open line of communication. I will not be mad. We can have a conversation if your friends offer you anything.
Right.
If you don't mind me asking, how is he with your brother?
Oh, they're buddies.
All right, because your brother is in recovery too, and that's right.
Yes, but it's weird because my brother is like a freak case, I feel like, because he went to rehab. He came home and did the 90 meetings in 90 days, and then that was it. Like, he wasn't on maintenance. He didn't really continue on with meetings unless he went with me. He just, like, shut that chapter, and that was it. And he's coming up on, I don't know, 13, 14, 15 years clean.
Wow.
And I don't recommend that to my clients. Like, I recommend that you need to continue doing stuff for your recovery.
Right.
But he was able to just, kind of...
It was a different time, too.
Yeah.
It really was.
Yeah.
It was a lot more hush-hush.
The recovery
back
community
then.
exploded after that. So he was kind of before that.
Yeah. So, like, you would never, ever know that he went through that. And he doesn't... Like, I'm very open about, like, this is what I've been through. This is...
Well, it was a little harder for you to hide.
Yeah. Yeah.
Plus, you're in the field where you're helping others, too.
Yeah. So it's very out in the open, and it's a little more, you would never know with him. I don't think he's, ashamed of it. He would tell you, but it's just...
Right. It's just different.
Yeah.
Well, and recovery comes in all different shapes and sizes for sure.
Absolutely.
And I think we're learning that, with the maintenance and the meetings and the different types of meetings, the NA and the AA and the
Celebrate recovery, smart recovery,
all paths. There's a lot of stuff. So, everybody kind of can fit into where they feel comfortable.
Yeah.
Go ahead. I don't have any questions. I just met you and I'm proud of you.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Because that is awesome.
You're a sweetheart. It's a pleasure.
Oh, Sarah is. Okay.
Because I just met her too. We had one email exchange.
Yeah.
I'm not a sweetheart.
No.
Oh, okay.
And I actually, I start a new job next week working as a counselor at a maintenance clinic.
Okay.
So I'm really, really excited about that because maintenance too, I feel like has a really kind of bad rap to it.
It does.
And I think it's because you can misuse certain maintenance medications. So, somebody might not be taking it and they're all, they're high and their family sees them high and they're like, oh no, it's my maintenance when really,
okay.
So I feel like it just comes with such a negative stigma with it, or people will tell them they're not really clean.
Mm-hmm.
And I hate that.
Right.
Because sometimes that's what people need. People can live normal lives on maintenance. And if that's going to keep them from being out in the streets, homeless.
Yep. They get jobs.
They're a good parent. Then I'm all for it.
Yes.
So
yes, I've seen that and I see it daily with our ladies that are on maintenance, and I'm so proud of them because a lot of times, and again, you can correct me if I'm wrong, it's just from personal experience, just being in the field and observing a lot of this. When they get on maintenance, it's been longer since they've worked. It's been longer since life's been normal. It's been a harder road.
Yeah.
It's been a harder road for them. And so this progress is beautiful. It is giving them their life back.
Absolutely. And it doesn't mean you have to be on it forever. Or if you want to be on it forever, that's fine too. But if it lets you be a present parent, a good friend, a good daughter, whatever, then what's the problem with it?
Right. It's no different than anybody taking other medications that keep them safe and healthy. And I agree with you on that.
A lot of times you hear people say everything happens for a reason. Do you think if you did not take this path down to addiction, that you would have had your son?
Probably not.
And he's a blessing, right?
He is the biggest blessing. Absolutely.
So that's yeah.
And you're helping people.
Yeah.
And you found your passion in all of that pain. And not everyone can say that.
Well, people ask me all the time, like, if you could go back and never have picked up for the first time, would you go back and redo that? And it's like, yeah, I wish that, I didn't spend a decade ruining my life and hurting everybody around me. And I wish that, I was further along in life.
Mm-hmm.
But
I think you're pretty far along.
Well,
I mean, honestly, you've accomplished a lot.
And that's the thing is, like, growing up, I never knew really what I wanted to do or what I wanted to be. I didn't have, like, how kids grow up knowing exactly what they want to do. I never knew what I wanted to do. I never had
You didn't
passion.
have a career path.
No.
So the universe
and
gave you one.
That's kind of what I feel
Right,
like, because
yeah.
I am so passionate about this. Like, I love what I do. I love working in this field. I found my passion. I think if I was not an addict, I don't think I would be anywhere near this field probably.
Right.
So I think, I don't, at this point in time, I don't think I would change anything.
Yeah.
You have any parting questions? I have a question, but I want you to go first. If you have one.
No, I'll probably come up with a ton of questions afterwards. I'm just blown away. I mean,
There's a concern that I have for people that are in recovery, working in the recovery field, just because of my passion for them, because I know you guys could get burnt out. Do you have any advice to anyone, and have you experienced that?
that was going to be my question.
Was it?
No.
Yes, because you do want to help everybody, but
Mhm.
boundaries and all that. But we're in this field because we care. So obviously you are going to get emotionally invested to a certain degree. So I think burnout can happen very easily. And self-care, I think, is just like the biggest thing. Like, I have therapy once a week. I go to the gym in the mornings. I have my routine where, like, that's my me time. I'm getting
Good for your mental health too.
Yeah, for sure. And I'm getting better with turning my phone off to work calls when I'm not at work.
Right.
We're still
Good job.
working on it. But
Right.
having something that you can do for yourself, I think, like I said, therapy is important, or if meetings and like a sponsor, if that's your path, doing something like that. But having somewhere where you can kind of release everything onto somebody else,
Okay. That's good to know. Well, thank you.
Well, I do
Sorry.
have a question.
Go ahead.
now.
Sorry.
Are you
He
sure?
said no.
Mm.
You said he didn't.
No, because talk about your routines and everything that you do every day, and the fact that you do love yourself now, which is very important.
Yeah.
Do you actually? Is there anything in particular that you do every day, whether it's meditation, praying, or whatever, or saying something that you're grateful for every day?
I mean, I think this past 2 years, without even like meaning to, I think of everything I'm grateful for just
Right.
because life has changed so much in these last couple years. But gratitude is such a big thing.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of looking at everything we don't have or everything that's not going right, taking a look at what you do have going on,
Mm-hmm.
I think is definitely big.
And I noticed, and I've said it a million times, and I'm going to say it a million more. People
Soup to
in
nuts?
yes,
Oh no.
people in recovery have so much gratitude, more than the average person, and
Yeah.
it's a beautiful thing, because they
Yeah.
had to get to that spot in order to appreciate their life and what they have. And I can't even imagine how difficult it was to get there. But when you see people living like that, it's really cool.
Yeah,
It is.
Again, I'm just so proud of you. And the thing is, your story, it's started late,
Mm-hmm.
but at the same time, even though the addiction came fast, so did technically the recovery, didn't it?
I don't know.
Yeah,
started 2012, so 13 years ago.
It was like basically took up my 20s.
And you
Yeah,
had a
but, I
bump
mean,
in the road with the Xanax too.
Yeah.
Because you hear a lot of people, they're in addiction for 20, sometimes 20 plus years.
I mean, my addiction where I was homeless and, shooting heroin and smoking
Oh,
crack,
shit, you were
that
homeless too?
for a little while, my dad finally brought me in, but that's
Okay.
another story. But, that was only 2-3 years that I was really in that.
Right.
And then I, got clean for a little bit and fell back off. But yeah.
I mean, a lot of people say that's a long time, but which technically it is, but it's still, I mean, because you're still young and you still got a whole life ahead of you.
Yeah. I mean, because we have clients that are in their, 50s, 60s,
Yeah.
70s.
Yeah, and that's tough. That's really where I find it hard when we have women in our houses that are in that age bracket, because my
Yeah.
heart goes out to them thinking, we all need something to look forward to. And when you get to that stage in your life and you're forced or you want to start over, it's a lot harder.
Yeah.
It really is.
And if they started when they were young, there really wasn't anything back then for them.
No.
Jail.
Right. Well, but just even like, okay, now you're in your recovery, you're in a sober living house, you're in your late 50s, early 60s or whatever, and you have to start at an entry level job.
Yeah.
You don't have any money. Your family, you need to rebuild. And sometimes there's not much that foundation is so weak that the depression starts to set in.
Yeah, for sure.
And housing is really expensive. So, that's to me is like the next chapter for Rage. I would hope that maybe one day help these women in this older population
That would be
find their place in this world, because I see them. They're lost.
And it's hard when they go into a sober living filled with, girls in their 20s and 30s who they can't relate as much with. And
the 20s and 30s will hit the ground running and they can go work at Chipotle and they're working at McDonald's. And, we have people that were, realtors and, professionals and all of these things. And you're like, some of them were even retired professors that come in and now we're like, okay, you need to get a job. And they're like looking at you like
you're crazy.
Yeah, and then that's what I'm saying with like the hopelessness, even though they're in a structured environment. Sobriety, I've realized seeing these ladies is more than just not using.
Oh, 100%.
So we'll get there.
That'd be so awesome.
Well, thank you.
Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, no, thank you for coming. Wendy, I understand that Rage Against Addiction is doing something very important, a monthly donor program. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Absolutely. We are hoping to get our supporters to join us in providing a monthly donation. It can be $5 or it can be more. Whatever you can afford really allows us to help plan and increase our fundraising efforts.
Well, why should people become a monthly donor? What are they doing to help?
Their monthly contributions let us plan for long-term projects and respond quickly when urgent needs arise. And I'll give you an example. We had the need for a new mattress.
Right.
And we've also had urgent needs for refrigerators and washing machines and all of that kind of stuff that comes up. So they tend to need to be replaced, and our women deserve to have the things that they need.
So with the monthly donor program, technically anybody can do it for any amount, and because Rage Against Addiction always needs something. And
Yes.
I've known you for years now, and there's times you've told me you guys needed furniture, you need clothes, and also you're not getting the grants that you used to or the contributions that you used to. So this monthly donor program would definitely help a lot.
Yes.
So if somebody becomes a monthly donor, is there anything that they're getting in return? Besides, of course, helping those that need it. I know you guys have an excellent newsletter. Would they automatically
Yeah,
be subscribed to
we'll
that?
subscribe you to our newsletter so you'll know what's going on. You can kind of track our progress, hear success stories, know the data and like how many women we serve each year, and just be a part of something bigger.
So with this too, I guess they're also going to be, because of the newsletter, they're going to be one of the first ones to find out about events coming up like the Memory Walk and Run, the Basket Bingo, and any other future events that you're doing, the podcast that you do.
Yes.
So they're going to be tied in right away.
Yes.
All right. So how can they become a monthly donor?
You can go to our website, and that is rageagainstaddiction.org, and go to our donate button. And on there, you will have the option to become a monthly donor, and you can put in any amount that you want. Your commitment, big or small, empowers our mission and changes lives every single day. Visit us at rageagainstaddiction.org to become a reoccurring donor and join us in making a lasting impact. Thank you for your compassion, generosity, and belief in a brighter future. Together, we can make a difference. Join us today.